Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to the final 2021 Halloween special. Part of the 2021 Halloween special, the final part. Today we are reacting to Peninsula, the sequel to Train to Busan. And yeah, I am excited for it. Just a little disappointed as how I have to watch it. Now there's multiple places online you can watch it and rent it from. Just for sake of ease and because I know the player more and I'm more comfortable with a player that I'm more knowledgeable about, we are watching it on YouTube. And the reason I say I'm a little mixed on that is because, as you may remember with our Parasite reaction, the subtitles on YouTube are not great. They're small. They are just they have almost no black bordering around them, so during some scenes you can barely even see them. It's just, I wish the subtitles were better. But it's what we're gonna have to deal with, because like I said, there's other places you could watch it, but I don't know these other sites as well, and I don't know if I can trust their players as well. So I'd rather do something that I can knowingly trust. And then there's some sites where you can like watch them if you get like if you have a subscription to the site, like Shudder apparently has it on there, but I don't have a subscription to Shudder. And on top of that, even getting the like 7-day free trial they have, it's like I don't know, I'm always wary about those because I'm afraid that even if I cancel it, they'll try to charge me still, because that has happened with some sites before, where it's like, oh, you have a 7-day free trial, but they won't charge you if you cancel before that time. And it's like, they did. And it's like, ugh. I just don't want to risk that shit. Especially since you can't sign up like with PayPal. You have to sign up with a credit card. So it's like, I don't have that kind of money in my bank account. I just don't want to risk it. All my money's typically in PayPal. Unless I have to transfer something for one reason or another, and I usually don't. But anyway, so Train to Busan, as you guys might know, I've talked about it plenty of times and everything. We reacted to the prequel Seoul Station a couple years ago. Train to Busan is one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and definitely my favorite zombie movie. It's a fantastically shot, fantastically acted, directed, and just executed film. It does zombies right, which is something very few zombie movies do, and actually makes them scary. It also gives us great human characters who we grow to care about really quickly, except for one who we grow to hate really quickly. But that's the point. You're supposed to hate that one character, and it does it really well. It handles that in a good way. And the animated prequel Seoul Station was also good. Not as good, but also very good. Telling a different kind of story regarding the apocalypse, the zombie apocalypse, in a different situation and scenario. So this movie, I don't know if there's any actual connection to not Seoul Station, Train to Busan. Like, it's titled Train to Busan Presents Peninsula. But I don't know if like we're going to see either of the two characters who survived by the end of Train to Busan. I don't know if we're going to see anything in regards to that, or even anything in regards to Seoul Station. I don't know what the plot of this is at all. I don't know like when this takes place in comparison. So we're just gonna kind of have to see. Um, I've heard that while some people like this, it is kind of universally seen as not as good as Train to Busan. But as always, I will determine my own feelings towards it upon my viewing, because my tastes and views have tend to differ from a lot of people's. um, but yeah, I've heard that most people, even if they like it, pretty much say it's not as good. And I don't know the reasons. Again, I don't know anything really about this in terms of plot or characters or any of that. All I know is that it is supposed to be a sequel, comparative to Soul Station's prequel. So I am excited though. This is the final part of the 2021 Halloween special. So happy Halloween, everyone. As of when you're watching this, I am at Youmacon actually. I've been at Youmacon this entire weekend, and you're probably, if you're watching this when it is posted to YouTube, you're probably only able to watch the Google Photos link at the moment, because the Bitchute link won't be up until I return. If you're watching this after I have returned and put up the Bitchute link, might be a little late to the party, but still, hope you enjoy the video nonetheless. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the entirety of the 2021 Halloween special, because I've enjoyed getting to the movies, even though overall I would say the movies this year have not been as overall good as they were last year. I still had fun getting to them. I'm still glad that I got to finally see them. So I don't really have any real regrets here. And hell, we still have a holiday special coming up in December, which I will announce this next month in November. So look forward to that as well. But in the meantime, yeah, I'm excited to see what this movie has in store for us. So it's 2 hours long. We're going to get right into it. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I looked up some things online to kind of double check, just to make sure I was right before I said anything here, and it seems like I was correct. A lot of people seem to be saying, not everyone, but a lot of people seem to be saying that not only is this just not as good as Train to Busan, but there's a lot of people who are saying it is worse, like actively worse, and not good. A lot of people are saying it doesn't understand what made Train to Busan good in the first place, and that it's basically just mindless action schlock with bad CG. And I will agree on one of those points. It's not as good as Train to Busan. Like, it's undeniable, but at the same time, it's nothing like Train to Busan. I don't think it's trying to be. Like, people are automatically making this comparison just because it is, Train to Busan presents Peninsula. It's in the same universe. It's the same zombie apocalypse and everything, so people are automatically comparing it. The problem here is that's their first mistake. This movie's not trying to be another Train to Busan. It's trying to be its own thing, just taking place in the same world. This movie, as they mentioned, is an action movie, rather than Train to Busan's more horror-focused zombie film. Train to Busan focused a lot more on the horror and the how do I put it? The overall shock factor of it all, especially with the settings that we had. This one is more focused on the action of it all. And does that make it suffer in a little bit? Yeah, it does. There are some things that definitely just did not translate from Train to Busan, and one of those was a little disappointing to me, and that was the zombies themselves. In Train to Busan, the zombies were exceptionally memorable. The way they moved, especially, they were twitchy, they were janky, they would just like kind of the way they moved. I don't know how else to explain it. And the actors they got to portray the zombies were so phenomenal in everything they did. The original zombie that got on the train, the girl, to even the one zombie who you saw like slide upwards from the seat and just turn to look at the camera. If you've seen Train to Busan, you know who I'm talking about. That the one male zombie. Just all the zombies, especially when focused on, were so good. And here it's like, yeah, you got the fast moving, you got them piling over each other and stuff. It's stuff that you did see in Train to Busan and everything, but they're not as twitchy and they're definitely not as interesting. They're almost less of the focus in this movie. And that is a little disappointing, I admit. But I think, again, this movie wasn't trying to just be Train to Busan again. It's like we've already explored that kind of story. Instead, this was trying to be an action story, basically just set in a zombie apocalypse. They took the setting and the idea from Train to Busan, expanded it 4 years into the future, and just kind of went with a new direction. And in terms of how they executed that new direction, I thought it was good. It wasn't the best or anything, but I thought it was good. I thought the actors handled it well, and while these actors may not have been good as the ones in Train to Busan or as memorable, I still liked them. I still thought they did a great job. And I like the story that they went with. They still kept in that strong human element that made Train to Busan and even Seoul Station so good. And it made you care about these characters. And in the end, I like how it concluded. And hell, I even like the fact that there was this commune of psychotic, like, just survivors, because you see that in a lot of zombie media. And while some people might say, like, that's the problem, you see this all the time in zombie media, it's like, the thing is, that would happen. 100% that would happen. People would group up together, form these communes, form these communities, and yeah, some of them would be a bunch of crazy people. That 100% would happen. So it's like, yeah, I kind of like seeing that, and I like seeing how they're done. And this one was a different take than some of the others, because you had this leader who didn't even want to be in it anymore. And it was more run aggressively by one of its commanders. They also had a lot more things going on in there that were different. Like, in a lot of these, you don't usually see like a arena where they pit survivors who aren't in their group against zombies. You don't see that. That's unique to a lot of zombie media. And just the way that even the final chase scene, the car chase, was handled was, again, I've seen some people compare it in a couple of the reviews I just checked out in between the reaction and now. I've seen some people compare it to Mad Max, and I can't fully say, because I've never properly seen any of the Mad Max movies. I've seen like clips and stuff here and there, and maybe a scene or two, but from what I have seen, the little bit I have seen, it's like I guess I could see it. Um, and again, a lot of people are saying a lot of this stuff as if it's negatives, and it's just because they're comparing it to Train to Busan. They're just trying to automatically assume, like, just because it's in the same universe, just because it has the name Train to Busan technically in the title, means it has to be the same. And it's like, no, it doesn't. I like that it's different. I like that they went in a different direction. That's smart. The fact that it's not the same is a good thing. If they try to do the same thing again, it would be much more disappointing. Because it wouldn't probably live up to the original. And if they try to just do the same thing again, it would be disappointing even more so because it just doesn't live up to it. But it would be more disappointing because it would be trying to live up to it. The fact that it's not makes it better. And Seoul Station didn't either. Seoul Station didn't try to just be the same thing as Train to Busan. It did its own thing. And it worked. Again, I just think a lot of these, I think a lot of people in general, when it comes to a lot of movies, like to just complain for the sake of complaining. And then there's a lot of people who will just gather on the bandwagon, who form their opinions before they've even seen the movie. And so it's not really even their opinions they're spouting. It's not even their viewpoints on the film. It's just ones that have been ingrained into them. You see this all the time with everything, just this herd mentality. It's like, oh, all these people hate it, so I have to hate it too. And it's stupid. It's a completely stupid mentality. Because when you look at this, it's not that bad. And yeah, I know it's all subjective. I'm not saying that people can't genuinely dislike this. But I'm not talking about the people who genuinely do dislike it. I'm talking about the people who are just jumping on the bandwagon and hating on it because everyone else is. And you know there are people who are doing that. So it's like, that's the kind of thing I don't like. But I thought this was a good, solid movie. Again, it wasn't the best, but it was better than most zombie movies out there. Let's be honest. Most zombie movies out there are honestly kind of crap. At least in my opinion. I find that most zombie movies are super formulaic and just uninteresting. This was exceptionally interesting. It was well shot. The characters were likable. It's just, I just don't understand, like, why so many people are hating on it outside of just it not being another Train to Busan. And again, you know they would be complaining even more if it was just another Train to Busan because it wouldn't be as good as the first Train to Busan. So it's like people are just being idiots. Form your own opinions on things. And for me, in my opinion, I liked this. I thought it was great. I really thought they did a good job on making it its own thing and not just relying too heavily on making another Train to Busan. And so I enjoyed it. Again, are the characters as memorable as the ones in Train to Busan? No. But neither were the ones in Seoul Station. I still loved Seoul Station. And that's going to go for a lot of different series you watch. That, especially when the series isn't always about the same people. You watch an anthology series like Love, Death, and Robots, you're not going to like every episode of that. Hell, there's probably going to be one or two that you're actually going to actively dislike. I know there are for me. But at the same time, it's like there's going to be ones that are also extremely good, and overall, the overall quality of the series is still extremely good. And the same goes with like stuff like Black Mirror, anything like that. So yeah, we have 3 movies set in the same universe, but all of them are different. And that's not a bad thing. And we shouldn't just try to be comparing them. We shouldn't just be like focusing on, oh, this isn't like the more popular one. This isn't as good as the more popular one. It's like, again, it's not trying to be. It's more of an anthology of stories taking place all in the same zombie apocalypse world. If you look at it that way, at least from my perspective, there's not much of any reasons to hate this. Is there some things that don't work as well? Yeah. Again, the zombies could have been done better in this. Even not comparing them to Train to Busan, they could have been done a little better. They were veering off a little more into the generic category for zombies. I acknowledge that. And the villains weren't as just well handled as the villains in other zombie media. I will acknowledge that. The villains could have been a little more interesting. Non-zombie villains, of course, is what I mean. So it's like, there are issues with it. It's not perfect, but no movie is. Not even Train to Busan. Train to Busan has a couple issues in it, believe it or not. It's not perfect. But for what this was really, really good. And I'm definitely glad I finally got to watch it. So that leaves off with our 2021 Halloween special. And I'm sure you all are maybe wondering, but what was my favorite movie for this special? And just off of initial reactions, initial thoughts right at like kind of this moment, I would probably say that my overall favorite of these 5 movies we watched for this Halloween special would have to be The Purge Anarchy. I would say my least favorite is Parasite, which I know might shock a lot of people. Just that those two being in that order specifically, because a lot of people would probably put The Purge Anarchy at the bottom and Parasite at the top. But again, I form my own opinions based on my viewing experience, and Parasite wasn't as good for me as a lot of people had said it was. And The Purge Anarchy was fantastic, in my opinion. But I also very much liked Freaky and Peninsula, and Midsommar was just kind of mixed for me. Because while it was very well made, it was unsettling and uncomfortable, but not always just in a good way. Like, you know how something can be so unsettling and uncomfortable that you actually really enjoy it because of that, because that's the point, it's the intention. But Midsommar was one of those that was just like, I'm not having fun watching this. It's just that level of uncomfortable. That's kind of how it felt for me. So that one, yeah, didn't do as much for me as the others. But I would say my favorite was The Purge Anarchy. Then after that, I would probably say, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on which one I like more between Freaky and Peninsula. But those would be 2 and 3 for sure, and then Midsommar, and then Parasite at the end. But overall, I enjoyed getting to see these, and even for the ones I didn't like as much, I still am glad that I finally got to check them out. So thank you all so much for tuning in to this final part of the 2021 Halloween special. And just as an early note, there will be a 2021 holiday special coming in December as well. I have mentioned this on a couple other videos, obviously, and I feel like you guys probably expected it. And I will announce what that holiday special will be sometime in early November. Yeah, I know, it's a bit early to announce the holiday special, but I like to announce them about a month ahead. I think that's the right moment to announce the specials, just to get everybody excited, to get everybody waiting for them, and so I can prepare for them properly. Make sure I can get to all of them in whatever way I need to, and all of that jazz. So, I will announce that on its own separate video. But I will say here, as a little kind of hint, it's something I'm very excited to bring to you this holiday season. Because I feel like it's something that I feel like, how do I put this? It's going to be interesting to see what you guys think of the fact that I've never seen some of these movies. And yeah, that kind of tells you that the holiday special is going to be done in the same style that it will be, or that it was last year, where a video each week, just like the Halloween special was done. So yeah, but that's your hint. It's going to be interesting to see what some people think of the fact that I've never seen these. So yeah, we'll get to that as we get to that. But either way, like I said, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this final part of the Halloween special, of my reaction to Peninsula, and of your thoughts on the movie as a whole. And also, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you all have had a happy Halloween. And if you're watching this after Halloween, I hope you guys are ready for more stuff to come. In the meantime, thank you all so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.